So, hi all, a warm welcome to all of you on the day 4th of CSS Beginners to Advanced series. So, today we will be doing the rest of the grid and a small project, but that too depends upon the time. If in case we have enough time, we will do the project, but that depends on time. So, let us wait for some time so that some people will join, and then we will start with the CSS, the rest of the CSS grid, and 1 second. So where are rest? So let me share the WhatsApp group link also, so that if in case you are not on the WhatsApp group, so that you can be available there for the further updates what is going on in the channel. So let me add. So you can join the WhatsApp group also with the. Okay, fine. So you can join the WhatsApp group also with this below link for further updates which is being going on in the channel. So now let us start with the rest of the CSS grid. So today we will start with the sizing of tracks in CSS grid. So how we will be sizing the tracks in the CSS grid? There are two type of tracks, as I have told you: implicit track and explicit tracks. Implicit tracks is being created by the grid system, and explicit tracks is being created by our grid template rows and grid template columns. So now let me have 1 second. Fine. So this is the main index file, and here we will use the display as a grid. Fine, and we will add grid gap of 20 pixels. So this is how it looks like. So 1 second. Fine. So it looks like that. So now what we will be doing? So let us use a percentage to size the column. Fine. So we will use a grid template column and 25%. So if you notice here, the last of the column is being inserted into the end of the page. So why it is happening? Because 25% into 4 is 100 plus 20 px of grid gap results in 120 px. Fine. So in order to get rid of this situation, there is a unit which is called as a FR, or I can say the free space left after the explicit width are laid out. Okay. So in order to understand this, let us do the basic CSS and also add a border in order to have a more idea on this. So we will have border of 5p. Okay, so now what we will do here, we will use the grid template column of 200px and 150px. So we have created two columns, 200px and 150px. Now we will add a column with one FR. So how it will be showing? See, now what has happened here? The leftover free space is being utilized by the column number 3, which use the one FR. Fine. Now similarly, if in case we are looking for another column number 4 with the 2FR, so how it works? See, 200px, 150px, 1FR and 2FR. So the twice of the leftover space is being used by the last column. Fine. Now what we will do here. Okay, now let us add the auto functionality also. Auto functionality, what it works. So depending upon the size of the content, it will take the space around them. Okay. So this is called as a auto function. Auto function. Now let us increase the size of the item and see. So here it uses a it contains a bigger content. So in this auto functionality, the more space is being provided to this particular item. Now let us add the repeat functionality in order to make the CSS grid more and more powerful. So for this, let us start with the repeat 2 times of 1FR. So see how it works. So see, auto 2 times of 1FR, 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 again 1FR and 2FR. So this is how it works like that. Now what else we can do? We want to repeat 1FR and 2. So see, auto 2 times of 1FR, 2FR, 1FR, 2FR, 1FR, 2FR. So it will work like that. Now now what else we can add here? Okay, fine. So now let us go on. Yes, yes, Suresh, we can use one FR for each as well. You can use one FR also. You can use 2FR also, depending upon your requirement or your content. You can place the units. No. Okay. Uh, now we will switch on to the next topic, which is called as the sizing of grid items. Fine. And what we will do here. So let us have a basic change. We will do with this. We will do this with the 30 items now. Now here we will use the repeat functionality of 5 times 1FR. Fine. So 5 columns of 1FR we have created. Now what we will do, we will pick an item. So dot item, and we will change the background to orange, red. Fine. And we will fix the width to 500p. So what we did here? We have increased the width to 500 px. What is happening here? As soon as we have increased the width to 500 px, it is disturbing the whole of the column. So in order to rectify it, we use a property which is called as a grid column property. Fine. So grid column span of 2. Fine. And we will, so it appears like that. So without disturbing the whole of the content, it takes the twice of the space which is being required by them. Now, similarly, we can use this for row also. So, grid grid row span of 4. See, span of 4. And in case if we want this to start from a particular column and end to a particular column, so we will use grid column start from 2 and grid column end till 6. See, it starts from 2 and ends at 6. Similarly, you can use this in row also. Grid row start from 2 and end. Oh, sorry, row. So it looks like that. So it starts from 2 and ends at 6. So you can use the merging with the help of this grid column, row and grid row start and grid row end. Now, what we will do here? Okay, fine. So now let us move on to the autofill and autofit property in CSS Grid. So for this, 1 second. For this property, I may need to change the, yes. Okay, got it. Fine. So here, let me remove this also. So now we will see what is autofill and what is autofit. So autofill and autofit properties are almost very similar properties, but in autofill you can fit as many as possible items in the row before item being moved on to the next row. So if you see here, now what we will do, so we will use grid template column and with the repeat functionality and in autofill. Now see, so this is how it works. So the definition says it can fit as many as possible items in the same row without moving on to the next row. See, this is how it works. Now, uh, 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 what else we can add here? Now we'll see auto fit. So auto fit and auto fill are almost very similar, but there is a difference. And in order to understand the same, we will reduce our items here. So one second. So we will do with only 4 items now. So in order to understand the difference, we will require only 4 items. So here we are using, so display as grid about 20 px, a borders there and a grid template column with repeat autofill functionality of 150 px. So now what we will be doing here, now we will change this autofill to autofit, and here we have saved it. Now if you see here, we have only 4 items here, fine, and uh, let us target the item number 4, and here we will use the uh, grid sorry grid column and 2 -1. But here, one second, if you see, so here if you see, one minute, so here if you see, the effect will be like that, fine. So here if you see here, the item number 04 will shift towards the end, which is the grid column end -1. So you can count this by 1 2 3 4 5, or -1 -2 -3 -4 -5, like that, in the reverse direction, or in the plus direction in a forward way. So now if I change, one second, the item number 2, Now what will happen here? What I did, I increased the size of the items being placed inside the item number and saved it. Now if you see here, and here I did 100 px. Now what is going to happen here? So using a new property which is called as the min max property, we can allot space here. So depending upon the size of the content, it will pick automatically the size what we have given here, like that. Now what will happen here? Now what will happen here? Let us do one thing. Let us do this, the auto fit, and see what is going on here. So if what is going on here, the leftover space is being utilized by the use of auto fit function. This is the beauty of autofix, which uses the free over space also. So, and one more thing, as I've told you, Grid and Flexbox is very responsive, so it will change automatically, or I can say update automatically depending upon their size of the items, or depending upon the size of the screen, or depending upon the picture, whether it is a desktop view, mobile view, or a tablet view. So now what we'll see. Okay, so now what we will do here, we will use the grid column and grid row concept to place items. Fine. So we will use the grid column and grid row concept to place items. So for this, let us use a structure. One second. So this is the item, this is the content which we need to fix it. So this says I am the sidebar one. So this is the sidebar first. This is the center content. One second. Okay, so I am the sidebar one. So sidebar will come here. This is the center content. It comes in the center. I am the sidebar two. This sidebar two comes in the side, and I am the footer. Footer comes from left to right in the bottom. So now how we will be using the grid template row and grid template column concept, or I can say grid sizing concept, to place these items. So for this, let me have a container. So here what we did, we have a parent container which contains grid template rows and grid template columns. In this grid template rows and grid template columns, we have divided the screen into rows and columns. Now using the grid template area concept, we will place the items where we want them to be actually placed. So now what we will do here, see here, the grid area footer is here, sidebar comes here, the center item comes here, and the last item comes there. So this is how, with the help of this functionality, we can place items like this. And let me tell you one thing, the responsiveness is very good. See, now we will see the legendary masonry layout. So for this, I need to change the structure. So here we have the items like this, and fine. Now what we will do here, we will go with the repeat of 10 column of one FR. So we have created 10 columns of one FR. Now we will be adding some irregularities using the span functionality to some items. So the result, how it looks like. So what we did, we have actually changed the space or changed the shapes of the items here. How we did, we have added some irregularities using the span functionality here, which is in front of you. Okay. So now what we will do, with the help of this legendary masonry layout, we will place or we will fix those items. But if you see here, the sequence is not guaranteed. Entire items, your entire items is placed here, but the sequence is not guaranteed here. So this is why this type of layout is being used, where we are not required to place or guarantee or maintain the sequence. So this is why it is called as a legendary masonry layout. So now, 1 second. Now moving on to the next topic, which is called as the CSS grid alignment and centering. So this alignment and centering we did in basics also. Sorry, we did in Flexbox also. So again, as I've told you earlier, also we will be doing in CSS Grid also. The terminology is same. The set of values is almost same, irrespective of 2 to 3 values has been added here. So let us see how this justify content, align self, justify self properties will work in CSS Grid. So now let us see the below properties here. Fine. So now let us see the justify item, justify content, align content, justify self and align self. So for this, what the so we have reduced our structure till 40 items. Now we will see how justify item will work. So justify will be a row access property and align is a column access property. Fine. Now if I say justify, so let us show you with an example how it works. Now what we will do here, Now what we will do here, we will actually, 1 second. Okay, so now we will use the justify item property to move the items within the row axis. So we will be using, we use the background as white. Now you will be able to see properly how the items are moving within the row axis. So for this, 1 second. So we will use the justify item start. So entire content is in the start now. So next will be justify item end. So entire items move towards the end. So justify item center. So everything will be in the center. Now next justify item stretch. So all are in the stretch position. So these are the four values. Now let us see the align item four values. So align item works in a column level, which is from top to bottom. Justify works from justify works in a row level, which is from left to right. So what us we be sharing here? Uh, okay. So align item start. So everything is in the start. Align item end. Everything is in the end. Center. Stretch. So these are the values, start and center and stretch. Now we will see the justify content property. So here in the justify content property, everything. So let me show you with the help of a, 1 second. Okay, so justify content have 7 set of values: start, at, center, start, space between, space civilian, space around. But justify item have only 4 values. So for this, in order to understand how it works, we will be using like that. Okay, nice. space evenly, space around. So these are the 7 set of values for justify content. Now we will see align content. So align content again moves in a column level, which is from left to right. Align content, start, align content, and center, stretch, space between, space evenly, and space around. So these are the 7 set of values for align content. So in case if you want to place something in a perfect center, so you can use the align content center and justify content center property. Now let us switch on to the justify self and align self. Similarly to CSS Flexbox, justify align self and justify self will also work in the same way. But for this to understand, let me have a basic change in the structure. Okay, so what we will be doing, we will be targeting a specific item. So let us pick up item number item. Okay, dot item 14. So we will use we will change the background to orange. Okay, now we will see how it is moving. So justify self, justify self start, and center, fetch. So these are the 4 set of values, and similarly you can use line self property, start, and center, stretch. So these are the 4 values for align self and justify self. So here ends the CSS grid. Now we will do a small project of CSS. We will do a small project using a combination of CSS Flexbox and CSS Grid. So what I will do here, 1 second. So day 4 attendance is being shared here. So you are requested to please fill the attendance sheet. So this is an album, a list of album which we will be going to fix it here with the help of CSS grid property. So for this, there are three main classes: album, and one more is there. So see, display grid template column is repeat, auto fit, and min max. So both, or I can say all these three will become very powerful when you are using this in a proper and correct manner. Now what we will do, we will target this album, and we will have a box shadow property here, which will create a 3D type of image. Fine. Now what we will do, we will have this, sorry, display as grid, and we will use the grid template column of 150 px and 1fr, so that it looks like that, and a grid gap of 10 px. Now in there's another class what we have created here, which will fix the entire items as per our requirement. And here if you see, this is how we are looking for the albums to set. See the responsiveness, depending upon the size of the screen, it fits automatically. So that's it for this week from my side. Those who have filled all the 4 days attendance sheet will only get the participation certificate. All the 4 days, not for a single day. Fine. So once the certificate will be issued, we will update in the group. Thank you. Thanks a lot.